Well, if this ain't the pot calling the kettle black, how in the look? I understand if you're an Eagles fan, you know, and you have seen it before. Donovan McNabb likes to talk a lot about this Eagles team, and it seems like he's pessimistic a lot. But there is no world, then I mean no world, in which Dan Sileo has any right to call him petty.
You want Philly food?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today we're gonna talk about this, man, because honestly, y'all know how I feel about Dan Sileo, and if you don't, I think he's an idiot. So we're gonna talk about what he said about Donovan McNabb, what Donovan McNabb said about the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're gonna just kind of just talk. That's all we're gonna do, man. I usually don't do videos like this. I usually don't really care what other people say, but I couldn't just walk away from this. It was too juicy, man. But before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. We are on the road to 4K, and I would love for you guys to join that ride. So let's get into it, man. So Dan Sileo said that Donovan McNabb is like the most petty man in Philadelphia, basically saying that he was taking shots at Jalen Hurts because Donovan McNabb said that he didn't feel that this team is a Super Bowl team yet. Honestly, that's probably one of the most mild takes that Donovan McNabb had. If it really depends on how you look at it, obviously, right? Some of us really do think this is the year we can win the Super Bowl. I think we have a shot to be a competitive team in that Super Bowl chase, but it doesn't have to be the Super Bowl year. This doesn't have to be the peak of what we're trying to do. Honestly, I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like this is just the beginning. I feel like we are building something for the future. So for him to say, and I don't know the exact quote, I'm paraphrasing here right now, but you know, he basically said we're a couple years away, which I don't see anything really wrong with that. That's fine. I think that Jalen Hurts is only going to get better. I think that this coaching staff is only going to get better. I feel like you look at a lot of the young defensive players that we have, they're only going to get better. You have offensive linemen like Landon Dickerson absolutely going crazy this year. And then you have guys waiting in the wing like a Jurgens. You got guys like Driscoll. You got guys who have gotten meaningful snaps that are most likely going to have to take over at a position in the near future. So I almost understand what Donovan McNabb is trying to say. This team is not, while it's built and it looks on paper like it's a very, very good team, and I do agree that it is a very, very good team, this team wasn't built to win the Super Bowl this year. This team was built to continue to grow, to continue to become a great team. If we were going all in on a Super Bowl, we would have went crazy with big one-year deals, you know, trying to get all these big signings. We didn't. We got a lot of youth. We got a lot of young players that are going to go in and take responsibilities from some of our veterans. So that's big. And look, Donovan McNabb is kind of a hater sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. He says some things that I'm just like, what's even the point of saying that? But it is what it is. No way. There is no way that Dan Sileo has any room to talk about being a hater or being petty or talking down about Jalen Hurts. That man has made a full career, literally a full career in Philadelphia talking junk about Jalen Hurts. If you don't want to see that, that's on you. That's fine. But it makes zero sense. That's like me sitting here saying, oh, you're being a little bit critical of Jalen Hurts. I've been critical of Jalen Hurts all year last year. You know, and don't get me wrong. There is room for you to admit that you're wrong, and I did it, right? I sat here and said, listen, I didn't think that Jalen Hurts was going to get this good this quick. I said that, and I meant that. I 100% meant that. And looking at what he's been able to do, it is, I don't want to say a miracle, but it's amazing. It's incredible to see how far he's come. So I'm proud of him. I'm excited, and I'm happy to be wrong. I am happy to be wrong. But there is never a time you're going to see me pointing out somebody else being critical of our quarterback, being critical of somebody of our team when I know I've been critical. I have not been as disrespectful, I feel, as Dan Sileo has been towards Jalen Hurts and towards this team. So for him to come out and say, oh, Donovan McNabb is a hater, at least McNabb played. At least McNabb played in Philly. At least McNabb actually has love for Philly. It might not seem like it sometimes, because sometimes he does get a little bit in his own way with some of the comments he makes. But I'm not listening to you, Dan. Shut the heck up, man. Shut up. There's no, this is the pot calling the kettle black to the perfect extent. This is literally what they made the saying for. Like, there's no way that you're going to sit here and tell me that you, of all people, have the right to say something like that. So me, in my personal opinion, because I have seen a lot of people talking about this, a lot of people saying, you know, oh, Dan, well, how are you going to say it? But I've also seen a lot of people kind of agreeing with him. And look, anything else, I would sit here and be like, yeah, he probably is hating a little bit. Donovan McNabb says some dumb stuff. But for Donovan McNabb to say this team is a couple years away, I don't think that's a negative. I think that's him looking at this team saying they got a lot of growing to do, and that's awesome. We're this good when we shouldn't be. That's the real main point of all this. Like, we're this good when we should be a couple years away, right? We just started our rebuild, right? We started our rebuild last year, and look how quickly it turned around. So in common sense wise, right? If you're just looking at it as a normal fan, as somebody that watches football and goes through the normal sequences of most teams, what we did is not normal. What we did is not usual, right? Usually you don't see a team go out there, have a great offseason and turn into a Super Bowl competitor when they barely made the playoffs, right? We had so many questions going into this offseason, and they got answered pretty quickly. I don't think that Donovan McNabb is hating with this statement. I really don't. And like I said, there are a lot of statements that you can bring up to me that I would probably sit here and be like, yeah, that's McNabb being McNabb. It is what it is. Here we go again. But this isn't one of them. I really, truly don't feel like this is one of them. I really didn't even care what he said, if I'm being 100% honest. What really drew my attention was Dan Sileo thinking he was like some knight in shining armor for the Philadelphia Eagles community. Like, no, we don't need you backing us up because you say dumber stuff on the daily basis. So maybe this is me just really bashing Dan Sileo and saying shut the heck up, but at the same time, this is me telling fans I don't think this is the worst thing that McNabb has ever said. Again, I think he said worse in more recent years, right? He's not one of those guys that's going to come out here and be like waving the flag like, oh, we got him, this is the fly Eagles fly. He just isn't that type of guy. It is what it is. He should be that type of guy, obviously being the former quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. There's something in him that just kind of holds him back from being a fan. Maybe it's he just doesn't want to see people do better than him. Maybe it's just he feels some type of way of how we shipped him off. Maybe he really just hates Philadelphia. He never liked cheesesteaks in the first place. I don't know. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, Dan Sileo is, I just don't get how he's even reporting for the Philadelphia Eagles. So for him to say something like, you know, Donovan McNabb is a hater, just no. Just don't do that. Just stick to what you're doing, which is making up a bunch of weird statements and lies and acting like you like this team. You're not an Eagles fan, so don't act like he's hating. Just shut up. Just shut up. He's not petty. You're an idiot. I don't want to hear it. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that Donovan McNabb was hating? I know most of you guys are going to say he probably was hating a little bit. I really don't think this is the worst thing he said. That's really the only thing I'm trying to get out, is that if we're putting this on a scale of 1 to 10, this is probably like a 4. Realistically, this is like a 4, because I've said before, this isn't the year that we're supposed to win the Super Bowl. If we go out there and win it, then awesome, but we are still building. So I really don't think Donovan McNabb's statement was all that big of a deal. I think that it's more amusing the people that are calling him out, because a lot of those people didn't believe in us either, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how are you the one to call us out? But either way, I just wanted to talk about that. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on that. So let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Do you think he was hating? Do you think Dan Sileo was the guy you want even calling him out? Because that's kind of really where I stand. But let me know in the comments. Y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly. And we actually, if you're here, right, if you're here still, leave a comment down leave something down in the comments letting me know you made it this far, because you're amazing. You're awesome. You're the smartest person in the room. You're an amazing Eagles fan, so I appreciate you. But yeah, Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog, or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season head, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco, thanks for tuning in.